Good afternoon. This is on. If you don't know Professor Jinju, you do now. She's a force of nature. And if you are part of an organization looking for founders, she is the model you want. She's unstoppable in almost every way. I see the people who know her well laughing because I've been lucky enough to be around Jin for almost 8 years with Histosonics, leading the marketing team. I think we're going to do this, and normally we wouldn't do what I'm about to do, but we've talked about the science, we've talked about some of the immunology and work. Even though we're not approved in Australia through the TGA yet, we're finding every way to get in. We do want to actually share with you something that I hope hits very close to home with you, because it does to us at the company. We're going to share a quick few-minute story from a patient actually from Australia, Kate, who flew to the US to get treatment because she had no other options. And what I want you to hear in her voice is the desire to have hope, why she needed something. You all are working in here to advance science, to advance medicine in a certain way, and I hope that you have the same experience that I and my colleagues have had. So I'm going to be quiet and have Kate talk to you for a few minutes, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the system technology, and then the most important thing we're going to do today is we're actually going to show you a demonstration of this live. So bear with me, and folks, hope you can start Kate.
So my name is Kate. I live in Perth, Western Australia. I'm a mum of 2 and I'm married to my husband Charlie, and I love spending quality time with them. I really enjoy baking because I love to teach them things, and I just love food. Back in 2019, I was 35 years old and I was breastfeeding my daughter Grace when I felt a lump. I had a bad feeling, so I went to the GP to check to see what it was. After a bunch of tests, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, estrogen positive. But at that point, it was stage 1. I opted for a double mastectomy rather than a single. The surgery itself was very intense and was a long recovery. But once I got through all of that and the chemo started, that was when the sickness really kicked in. I had a good 2 years where I was deemed in remission, and I went in for my appointment to see my surgeon just for a checkup. I thought that I was going to be okay, but unfortunately it had metastasized into my sternum, which considered me a stage 4 cancer patient. Back on chemotherapy, which is something that I really did not want to do, considering the past and how hard it was to go through all of those side effects. But I went on a clinical trial and tried some estrogen tablets, like resistant tablets. That didn't really do what it needed to do. So it continued to spread into my brain, my spine, my lymph nodes, and my liver. So my options were starting to get limited. I first heard about histotripsy from a friend who introduced it to me, and I started doing my own research to see if it was an option for me. I didn't really have any concerns with histotripsy, knowing that it's non-invasive and that it's day surgery, there's no incision, and it doesn't actually damage any of your healthy tissue. So I thought it was a great option. Straight after the procedure, I felt good. It was very nice to hear that the doctor had actually targeted 5 tumours successfully. When I got back to the hotel, I did get up and go for a number of little walks, and I was really surprised at how good I felt after the procedure. I can't believe that there is technology out there that can target tumours directly without affecting your body, without any side effects, and you can literally get up the next day and go about your normal life. 6 months after my first treatment, I decided to go back to the US for a second treatment, knowing this time what to expect. I woke up and I felt better than I did the first time because he targeted 3 tumours on the left side of my liver and I had absolutely no pain whatsoever. When my radiologist saw the scans, he was pretty impressed with how my liver responded to the treatment. I would love histotripsy to be available in Australia, and I would like more radiologists and oncologists to know more information about histotripsy, as I think it is a very powerful treatment option. I understand that data is important for my medical team, but as a cancer patient, I don't have time to wait years for data to be collected in order for them to feel that it's my time to try this technology. What inspires me to keep pushing? Definitely my children. I do really want to see my daughter and my son maybe get married one day, and I have a strong feeling that I'm gonna get through it. I don't want to go anywhere. I love them so much.
You've got Jinju, you've got patients like this who have no other options, and that drives our company, it drives our philosophy, it drives everything we've done. I don't have the timeline slide of 25 years on the timeline, but we do like to say it's a 25-year overnight success. So everybody that's a founder or CEO of a company that you started, I'm sure nothing happens as fast as you like. I'm going to talk a little bit about the company and the backdrop of the patient, the backdrop of the partners we have as investors, clinical partners, advisors, really shape the way we consider what we do at the company. So our big vision is to basically accelerate the opportunity for procedures that are done today to be done non-invasively, not just for tumors, definitely not just for tumors of the liver, which we'll talk about why we started there. As you've heard, tumors of the kidney, the pancreas, the brain, the breast, thyroid, prostate, sarcomas, metastasis from all of those as well are totally in our sights right now. Some of the things that you may not hear talk about, things like hypertension, metabolic and neurologic diseases. Because we can transmit this phenomenal new energy source through bone, through the brain, without making a decision, we see this as an opportunity that's really going to advance science and medicine across multiple disease states and application. We're going to start here, where I'd like to draw your eyes to that bottom ribbon from palliation to cure. I don't know about you, but when I think of palliation, I think of it 20 years ago when I first heard the term when I was volunteering in hospitals. And it was kind of like, it was toward the end, you were just trying to make somebody, feel less pain as they left us. That's changed now. Palliation is a lot different. We've seen with patients who've received histotripsy who have had extreme pain from pressure pushing up against their liver capsule or on nerves. They get histotripsy, pain goes away, and they go home that same day. They go for multi-mile walks with their family they hadn't been able to do in years. Palliation's a different thing now. If you think about the number of patients that are surgically operable versus not, the ratio is generally about 15%, 20% to 80. 15 or 20% are surgically operable. The patients that are getting histotripsy right now don't necessarily fall in that because we don't have data to compare it to surgery. We hope to one day. But the population of people who need their tumors removed, I think if you added up all of hers, we were 10 or more over a couple sessions, without toxicity for her, without an incision, without the complications of surgery, allowing her to fly back to the U.S., fly to the U.S. and back twice and be with her family. Stand alone, if that's all we did as a company in the liver, we'd be happy. The market is phenomenally huge, but we're going to take it on to a new level. We think this is going to make more patients eligible for local regional therapies with both curative intent as well as palliation. What you're going to see in this demonstration we're going to do, If you're a surgeon trained here versus a surgeon trained in New York versus one trained in Hong Kong, the way you do the exact procedure is going to be different where you're trained. Histotripsy removes a lot of the art. We respect the art for sure, but this allows us to standardize and democratize this procedure. So if you know how to look at the liver under ultrasound and CT and MRI, we can train you to use this. Multiple specialties can use this, and the outcomes, the energy, should all be very, very similar. So we think this is going to introduce a new opportunity to collect data in advanced science as well. The economics of this. We have, through great effort from our colleagues here, we have a system that just started doing procedures in the UK. The UK has a queue of patients lined up to get treated for major disease conditions, but they can't because the beds are full. They don't have enough staff. It's the same story everywhere. Well, they started using histotripsy as part of an accelerated pathway, and they're hoping to reduce the queue because they can get a patient treated and potentially send that home same day. About 98 or 99% of all patients with histotripsy go home the same day. Not on narcotics. If they need any pain relief at all, it's over-the-counter stuff like NSAIDs. So really redefining the economics of patients moving in and out of care and being able to get 1 or 2 or 3 or more tumors treated in the same session totally revolutionizes the way you think about patients coming into a hospital and going back home in a productive life. So our solution, I won't beget this anymore, but to liquefy and remove tissue. Removing tissue is one of the key words. It's not desiccating the tumor like you would if you had heat, risking burning something. It's not ionizing radiation, which knocks off electrons and destroys the tumor, hopefully, in place. This actually liquefies it. The one thing I don't know if we talked about is what happens to this liquefaction? What happens to this lysate? It's processed out of the body over weeks and months. You can see it radiographically. It goes away and shrinks, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. This is our solution, and we think we're going to change the paradigm in non-invasive, very low, if not non-toxic, low complication procedures for patients across conditions. And you can imagine that's why, as you know, we worked diligently with our investors since I joined about 8 years ago. This is the shared vision, and we've only accelerated that with our new partners. The problem we're attacking right now, as mentioned, 4 out of 10 of us in this room are going to develop some sort of tumor that's cancer-related. Not even talking about benign tumors, which would make it even more. 40%. I can ask the question if you know somebody in your immediate family or a friend that is battling some sort of tumor right now. My guess is 100% would raise their hand. They don't have to, but we've done this enough, we know. And it's horrible. It's a horrible condition, and your options are more limited than maybe you think once you get into medicine. More bad news. In the US, it's going to grow by 50% in the near future. It's just a fact, our way of life. It's what we do. We look at these numbers all the time. We're constantly evaluating, hoping that that number comes down. Unfortunately, it's not. Globally, the story's worse. As countries become more sedentary, the diets become more westernized, restricted, where people don't eat right, the numbers are even going to climb higher. And that's going to be a challenge for all healthcare systems. And we know that, and we think we have a solution that can maybe penetrate that as well. So we are approved in the United States and a handful of other countries I'll show you in a little bit for the destruction of liver tumors through the mechanical mechanism of histotripsy. And we started in the liver. People ask us all the time, why in the liver? Why didn't you start in breast or something like that? Every organ or disease condition you see on this holographic person here all shares a blood supply to the liver. Some form or fashion. Some really direct, like colon and rectum tumors, direct pipeline to the liver. As tumors escape their original primary origin, they go and they seat themselves in the liver, and they become a real problem. Many patients don't die of their primary tumors. They die of overwhelming liver tumors that make normal liver function impossible, and they end up passing away. So not only do nutrients and toxins get filtered through our liver, but every tumor that goes throughout the body and the blood can find a home in the liver. That's why multitudes more metastasis arrive in the liver than primary tumors arrive. If you have flown over here from Asia, right? Between just a handful of Asian countries, half the world's liver tumors occur in just a handful of countries over there. right? And right now it's a tremendous problem, and we aim to solve that as well. In relation to this, if you have cancerous tumors, over some point in time they will metastasize to your liver, and that will be a direct reason for your mortality. That's how important the liver is. It's one of the only organs you can't live without. Even if you do get treatment, you get it resected, you get it ablated, you get a probe stuck in, heats that tumor up to 100 plus degrees Celsius, cooks it, or you get radiation, 60 to 80% or more of those can come back. But you only have so much liver. You have only so much health that can allow you to go through some of these really highly invasive morbid procedures. Histotripsy, as Professor Shu explained, can be done over and over again, preserving healthy tissue. Right? This all sounds too good to be true. This is the point in the presentation where I say, when we get to the demonstration portion, I'll ask you to suspend disbelief, because I think what you're going to see is going to not seem real, but we're going to show it to you in real time here. So our solution is histotripsy. In true Michigan fashion, this little video that's playing is a block M. If you look at the axes on this, it says 1 centimeter on the top. It's also 1 centimeter on the y-axis as well. This is steered electronically in the form of an M in a medium to show how precise this treatment can be. 1 millimeter outside of where this is designed to go, it's perfectly safe. There's no radiation hitting it, it's not burning it, but inside it's complete liquefaction, as Jin said. Instantaneous cell death in a volume that the physician can plan and watch in real time, just as you're seeing here. We do not carve letters in any organs, just saying, that's unethical, we don't do that. Here's the system. This is the Edison system. We named it Edison because Thomas Alva Edison actually had strong Michigan roots. He's the most prolific inventor in the United States, maybe worldwide, holds the most patents. Roots in Michigan, and we thought, you know what? We want to make the most innovative technology that meaningfully impacts the patient's lives around the world, and this is it. It's got everything in this cart is mobile, which means you can move it from room to room. It doesn't have any special shielding. You can plug it into a normal wall outlet, as opposed to what Jen did with her system, where she had to get some sort of nuclear generator to power the original one. We have a complementary ultrasound system on the left that powers direct visualization in the tumor as well. So integrated imaging with therapy in a mobile device that can be shared room to room across multiple specialties, treating multiple organs. I won't belabor this. The picture you see here is a patient that was in the Hope for Liver trial, had a 2+ centimeter tumor right in the middle of that black spot. This is within 24 hours after the procedure. This is a scan of that patient. You can no longer see the tumor, and all that is liquefied. Within 2 months, that completely resolved, and that patient had you couldn't tell that patient had any treatment done to them at all. The only thing that says that they had it done was this image post-procedure, and that patient walked away, and that tumor did not come back. Here's another one. When I said, what happens to that lysate? What happens to this liquid that you create? On the left is a 36-hour post-treatment image. You can see the difference in the white area and the dark center of what looks like almost a perfect sphere. And then with 1 year later, it's just a very little, almost indiscernible little mark, maybe a small bit of scar tissue there that you can see where it was. No tumor to be found. Again, if you look at the skin, the subcutaneous tissue, no damage to any of that as well. Evidence. This was mentioned a little bit. I won't go through it, but if you look at what we are currently funding as a company, and you can see the icons here, liver, kidney, pancreas, and prostate, we are basically in this active enrollment area about to move into the future where we're going to be studying the effects of histotripsy for safety, short-term efficacy, and long-term efficacy. So if you're a scientist or a physician and you like your 3 and 5 year data, we're working on it. We can't accelerate time, but we're capturing every patient. This Boombox trial is a prospective post-market study where if we develop a partnership with the hospital. We capture the details on every patient you treat that you can have. We share it, looking for signals where we can develop powered hypothesis prospective trials to look for signals, both in efficacy, immunologic outcomes, everything. So we're really funding our research to make this a really powerful tool going forward. The 1-year data that we're past this now, but this was a pretty pivotal 1-year follow-up in our trial, our Hope for Liver trial that was done across the U.S. and Europe. What I'll show here as you kind of look at the numbers, a 90% tumor local control rate. 90% control rate at 1 year. If you don't have a perspective what that means, it is comparable to every local regional therapy that's been out for 20, 30 years. Except in this patient population, there were primary liver tumors, metastatic tumors, and every patient had to either fail 1 or 2 lines of standard of care therapy or be intolerant of that therapy for some reason, health-wise or whatever, and they underwent histotripsy. So we had a very sick, aged population, and we were obligated to perform safety and efficacy in that population. You can see over the right side, the survival, 73.3% at 1 year with HCC, and METs, obviously a little lower, but still very comparable. Interesting enough, there's not one physician in the study that performed a procedure that had ever done histotripsy before. So it was the first patient was enrolled, and we followed them all the way through. So the novelty of this technology, we built it into a system that we think we can train and get people to use it very quickly and be experts very fast, right? And we continue to advance the technology. So if you are adopted, we train you, stay with you, accelerate you through that learning curve so you can treat as many patients as possible. I'm getting close to the end of the presentation. If you have your phones handy and you like to take pictures or videos, I'd say get ready to take it out before we start the demo, because there's going to be a video that you probably want to go home and show some people. But we are probably close to 3,000 patients. But what I think is interesting is this activity by specialty in the middle. Almost half is surgeons, almost half are radiologists using it. There's a radiation oncologist as well using it, and then even a hepatologist. But the split, right, the number of physicians that are trainable to do this really opens up access to patients. And we feel that's phenomenal. And we have a world-class training staff as well. The liver segments, we treat every part of the liver. If you've ever been around liver treatment, tumors that are really high near the diaphragm or heart are very difficult to treat. As Jin showed earlier, a tumor that sits right in between a bifurcation of vessels, you don't want to go sticking a needle. You don't want to go in there with surgery. And if you hit it with ionizing radiation, you have a chance to hit the heart or lung. Histotripsy has been phenomenal in those procedures as well. So every segment of the liver, and you can see the bottom row here, tumors treated by the tumor type, colorectal mets. Almost everybody that has a tumor in their colon or rectum, it will metastasize to your liver. And so we treated a ton of those, and you can see HCC is hepatocellular carcinoma, that's primary liver tumors, and you can go on and on and on. There's no mutational specificity that histotripsy can't treat. We can treat every tumor that shows up in the liver, right? And that's something that's also very unique. Here's the U.S. map, just to show you a lot of people. What's not embedded in this is 8 out of the top 10 cancer centers in the United States all have histotripsy machines, and most of all those are in active research as well as treating patients clinically. Globally, our new partners with Horizons and others look at this map and say, why can't we go faster? So we're going as fast as we can. I think we're really excited about making a difference in areas where the need is dramatic. The one thing you don't see here is Australia. As I said, we're working diligently to try to get through the TGA. We're working, aligning ourselves with your experts here to really make a difference. So we're excited about this number. If we come back a year from now, this number is going to be drastically improved and changed. Going forward, the top row, this platform 1, you can see liver, kidney, and pancreas. Think of that as where we're at today. We're progressing fast. Prostate platform for BPH to start. Is going to be a world changer. Think of a totally non-invasive way to destroy and liquefy benign prostate hyperplasia, get rid of lower urinary tract syndrome, hopefully, and move patients into a totally non-invasive way to overcome a really deliberate, problematic situation for you. Sorry. Neuro, as I said, not just tumors, but think of intracerebral hemorrhage, destroying non-invasively liquefying clots in the brain so they don't have a cascade of effect and cause problems down the road. Application extensions, thyroid and breast, right? Technically, these are really probably pretty easy for us to do. We're just trying to assemble the right teams to put them on it and let them run fast so we can non-invasively attack those disease states. Finally, abdominal, uterine fibroids is a huge worldwide problem. What if you could non-invasively, mechanically destroy those in minutes and have patients go home the same day, right? The goal of that is within our grasp, I think. And finally, neuro and spine, right? Many patients who get tumors outside the spine, particularly brain, will metastasize, or lung will metastasize to the spine, and there's not a great solution for that other than surgery and radiation right now. So I've asked Bella to come up here. Bella's one of our engineers. She's phenomenal. She's going to start a process of getting the system ready for this demonstration. So if you got your phones handy, get ready. She's going to put it in there. She's going to get it about 40% of the way to plan. Before we switch over to a different scheme on the TV, I'm going to go through a quick video, and I'm going to show you what this looks like on a patient, so you have some context to what she's going to do in this water tank here. This is what comes with the system. As you see here, a third-party imaging source is piped in so we can see live ultrasound, the generator itself, the robotic arm, and a therapy transducer that sits at the end of the robotic arm. We know exactly where the cavitation is going to occur, right? So we know, and we line it up with a diagnostic ultrasound transducer so we can look at it in any plane. And then finally, we have a little cart here that makes degassed water. That allows the propagation of the ultrasound force totally through the patient into a tissue transparent membrane that sits on the patient, dampens the movement of the patient, and allows us to send the signal through unadulterated. Again, actually a modern marvel here. So I'm going to hit play on this video, and it's going to walk through some things. So the physician controls the robot to this space mouse, 6 degrees of freedom. They will lower the therapy head onto the patient, which sits inside this single-use disposable membrane that's completely acoustically transparent, and that allows us to both see and treat the tumor without losing fidelity of the ultrasound signal. So we target it here. The physician controls the tumor treatment plan using ultrasound as well as MRI or CT combined, fused real time. Once they develop the plan, the physician just hits the automated treatment button. That's it for touching the system. The treatment arm will then begin at the deepest point and raster through the treatment volume, as you see it here, with submillimetric accuracy, starting at the deepest part of the tumor. And it's going to go through the planned, not only in the tumor, but the physician plans a little bit extra space outside of that called safety margin. That's to make sure no little small cells are outside there hiding. It goes from the bottom all the way to the top, overlapping itself 50% every time to make sure no tumor cells escape. Once it's over, the physician just simply lifts it off the patient. You pull the coupling kit aside, and the patient walks out almost exactly like they walked in. After probably a couple hours of observation, most patients go home. Making the impossible possible is actually a quote from Jinju as well, and we live by that. So now that we're almost ready, what you see here in the right, this is a piece of beef liver that's been cubed. This is a piece of everyday beef liver cubed up, and it represents a tumor for this demonstration, okay? It's a solid piece of tissue. Outside of that, it's in a gel phantom that's very, very sensitive, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in, and what Bella's doing right now is she's taking pressure readings, basically, to determine how much energy throughout this whole phantom, throughout this tissue, that is required to destroy it. So the physician will dial up 7 different points to decide how much energy is required. Once you hear the sound, by the way, that sound you hear is actually the sound of bubbles forming and collapsing inside the patient or inside this phantom. So we can hear the treatment being active, and we can also see it, and which you're going to see on the lower left. So she's created her plan. She's taken all 7 points. What you get from that is a planned treatment where you have all the information and you have the time. What does that say, Bella? 4 minutes and 9 seconds. So the physician, when they plan this, say, no, I'm going to be sitting here for 4 minutes and 9 seconds watching myself destroy this tumor in real time. So if we're all ready, Bella's going to hit play, and the treatment will begin. You'll see it dive down to the bottom, and you'll see the bubble cloud. If you look under that red crosshair in your bottom left image, the red crosshair, that's where the bubble cloud is. You can see that white hyperechoic area, and it's going to be rastering through. You can actually start seeing it liquefying this tissue in real time right here. What you see here actually mimics what you see here in real time. So the physician can watch in the green, that's where the tumor's been treated. The orange is actually where the bubble cloud is in active space right now. So we joke, this is the time when the doctor goes and gets coffee, and they allow someone else to see the procedure. I'm joking. They stay there for the whole time. But they can observe what's going on. I'm going to go back to a little bit of the physics of what Professor Xu said. The bubble clouds are expanding and collapsing from nanoparticle size to multiple times the size of the cell, collapsing around it, tearing that cell membrane apart, ripping the subcellular anatomy apart. So even if you look at it on cytopathology, you can't tell exactly what it is. You don't know. It's completely liquefied and acellular. There's no heat here, right? And if you know about heat in terms of organs, it can kill, and it can kill tissue fast, and that's great. However, it's uncontrollable. We call it thermal chaos, right? When you heat something up, if there's a blood vessel that runs by it, there's a good chance you burn the vessel. There's also a good chance the blood pulls heat away so fast that it doesn't have time to kill the tumor, and you're left with viable tumor there. So thermal's been around for a long time. It's fantastic for a lot of procedures, and they've proven a lot of safety and efficacy with it. But histotripsy does more. It does more without that thermal chaos. So we're 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. They're calling the doctor back in the room to see how it's progressing. If you can see here, what was this cube piece of tissue now looks almost like a perfect egg. When I talk about precision, what's killed out here at the periphery is the same that's killed in the middle, right? So uniformity of tissue damage. All this information that you see on the screen right now happening in real life to a patient is recorded, right? So we can, in the future, we'll know exactly what parameters went into treating these patients, how they did acutely after the procedure. Plus, in the future, we can look back and say, wow, this person had this type of tumor. They got treated for this long with this volume. And here were the complications they had. Here was the outcome they had. Potentially in the future, how did they perform when on an immunotherapy that was combined or chemotherapy that was combined? So now you have a totally non-invasive sequence of treating patients over time that you can follow, and you can start dialing in exactly when and when not to provide systemic agents if they need them at all. Again, we're preserving tissue. What you don't see in here is any damage really from here to here. That's because the energy is coming in. So Bella finished the procedure. She's going to pull this out. She's going to put it on this table, and we're going to refocus the camera. What was formerly a solid piece of cubed liver tissue, we're going to show you in real time. It's no magic. It's magic of science. We're going to show you exactly what that looks like. She's wiggling it out of the holder there. No pressure, Bella. So if you're not in the front row, you can look up here. We're going to zoom in on it. And she's going to do what every surgeon does, is she's going to cut right down the middle. That lysate is now acellular. It's going to get resorbed and expelled out of the body naturally over the course of weeks and months. Every time I see it, I get the chills. I can't believe this happened. This technology is new to the world, but we're sharing it everywhere we can. This is histotripsy. I ask you to suspend disbelief when you see what you just saw and think about the applications in the world that we can make a difference in. I want to thank University of New South Wales for having nothing but a hospitable environment for us. It's been very welcoming. Thank you so much. to the Horizons Venture Group, Selena and her entire team. Thank you for believing in us. You're amazing, every bit of it. If you're starting a company, I hope you find somebody like the investors that we have, and I hope that you all have success in your field. I'm happy to answer questions after this if you like. Thank you very much.